Craft Brews and Casual Conversations. Rob.
Drew.
Hello.
Hi.
We're going to be drinking an IPA from one of the non-lower 48 states.
Alaska.
It could have been Hawaii, but I was going to let the suspense build. But yes, Alaska. This is Dudes with Brews on a spoiled porch.
Looks like it's time to dive into another great beverage. It's Dudes with Brews on a Porch. Let's check in with our friend Drew for this week's episode. Who will he talk to? What will they talk about? And what will they drink? What are you waiting for? Get your ass off the lawn and come onto the porch. It's Dudes with Brews.
Spoiled porch?
Yeah, you spoiled it.
Yeah, okay. You're right. Didn't catch that. I thought like a spoiled brat who gets an Alaskan beer for his 4th birthday.
We're drinking Alaskan Brewing Company, the Husky IPA. Alaskan Brewing Company, of course, very, very close and near and dear to my wife's heart because she is from there.
Should be near and dear to your heart as well.
I like it. Yeah, their beer is good. This is one of the...
so are their women, apparently.
Yeah, at least one of them. Some of them are pretty haggard.
Oh,
but so are some of them in Wisconsin, you know, in my opinion.
They might have the greatest, the most beautiful hearts.
Could be.
They could also have very haggard hearts. Who knows?
This IPA has brilliant clarity with a medium golden color. It exhibits tropical and stone fruit flavors with aromas of tangerine and papayas. It is...
That seems out of place for Alaska. I'm just throwing that out there.
I don't know where they're getting them.
Like what
imported?
If you read that description and you were like, "Where do you think this beer is from?" Non-48 states, I would definitely think Hawaii.
Yeah, I'm not sure where they go. Papayas or tangerines, and I mean, it's a small season because summer itself is way shorter than.
Yeah, you've been there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I honestly, I was thinking the other day, like.
I met her there.
I've never been to Antarctica, but I assume that it's icy there. But honestly, if the radiation from the sun gets like pushed to the poles of the Earth, wouldn't it be hotter there? And I heard a theory that there's no ice there, and I was like, well, maybe it is.
Al Gore also joins us on the couch.
I wasn't talking about global warming. I was talking about the logic of radioactive beams of energy from the sun. But either way, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go off on this tangent, but I was just thinking if you've never been there, maybe it was tropical in Alaska and we just didn't know it.
Could have been. No, it's I've been there 4 times? 3 or 4.
You should do the Iditarod.
Yeah, I think that's done already.
Next year.
Maybe. Winters
Is it
are rough.
yearly?
Mm-hmm.
That's why would people do that every year?
I don't know. They're crazy. But 7% ABVs, 50 on the IBUs. I would agree. It is a medium gold color. It looks like
it's a beautiful beer.
You know, I like that you said that. And it smells great. I was drinking an IPA the other day, and I said, you know, I wish they made cologne that smelled like IPAs, like the IPAs that I like. And that would smell like a delicious alcoholic.
That sounds like a good merch idea.
I don't know how to make perfume.
There's somebody that does. All you need to be is the idea man.
Calvin Klein, is he still alive or is he dead?
I'm sure somebody runs...
I think he's dead.
I think Calvin Klein isn't a real person. It's just a moniker for whoever's owning the company. You step into the shoes and you become Calvin Klein.
Like Tim Allen and the Santa Claus.
Yes.
You put on the suit, you're the guy.
Yep. And you have to murder the Calvin Klein that came before you. Just like the Santa Claus.
But he didn't really die. He just waved and then he disappeared. Do you think
he fell off a roof and died?
Yeah, but when he put the jacket on, the corpse of Santa waved. He waves and he disappears. Do you think that's
that was rigor mortis setting in?
You think you think Thanos like snapped his fingers then? In Santa?
I don't know enough about Thanos.
You watch Infinity Wars?
No.
Oops.
I know Thanos is in it. I know he beats Hulk's ass.
Okay.
Right?
I just dropped a pretty big spoiler on you.
Okay. Oh, does Thanos disappear?
No.
Does Thanos die?
No.
Well, then no, you didn't spoil shit.
Okay.
Except for the fact that now I know he doesn't die or disappear. So you saying you spoiled something actually spoiled something. Let's stop this rabbit hole. So you sipped.
Opinions,
This does smell really good. But seriously, I think that there's a kebab, like smell a kebab. Yeah, like
like a sausage.
Like in
like a shish.
In Britain they have these things called kebabs. I don't know what they actually are. Something meat on a stick, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, a corn dog.
But either way, there was a show that's like a reality show based off of. It's like the Jersey Shore, but it's called something else. And
the kebab.
No. Well, there is like because of the region, their favorite like fast food or whatever on the dock, on the shore, or whatever,
on the pier
is these kebabs. And they actually made a cologne that was kebab scented.
Okay.
Now, if they can do that and gain success, or actually and sell even one, then
we can do it.
Then Dudes with Brews could make a delicious line, like smelling line of beer colognes.
All right, we could do it. Crayola made a.
The only difference between successful people and what we're doing is just
successful
doing
people
it.
Do it.
Yeah.
What do you think of this beer?
I haven't tried it yet. Looks like it's making you burpy.
A little bit.
Is that the beer?
I got like a lot of junk in my throat for some reason now. Can't get it out.
I just want to smell it.
It's pretty IPA-y. AE. It's pretty standard. Not too hoppy. Not too bad.
What's the IBUs on this?
50.
Is that high?
I think so.
Yeah, it's a little bitter.
Yeah.
Gotta say.
But it has like the standard like beer taste, aftertaste to it.
Yeah, it does.
It's not too hoppy. I'm good. It's not too hoppy. It's not too. I don't really get the tangerine. I can smell it. I can smell like the citrus. It's there a little bit, but it tastes more like beer with like extra hops in it, in my opinion. I'm a fan of the New England IPAs and stuff like that, so.
Well, I think that the fruit, like that flavor comes up front very briefly, and then it gives way to the bitterness of the beer, and then the after. You got to do that in front of me.
Does that creep you out? I'm sorry.
I hate that.
It was irritating my arm.
Of course, because you stuck a huge stabby thing into it before.
I'm saving lives, Rob.
Well, you're a better person than me.
For a profit. We're talking about, I took my cotton swab off my arm because I donated plasma like a few hours ago, and after a while, the wrap starts to like pinch my skin and pull my hair, and it hurts, so I pulled it off.
Yeah, and it bothered me when you unwrapped it too, but then I have a real problem with it.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I won't do it again.
Until
next week.
Yeah. Of course, we have to do these every week after you stab yourself in the arms on purpose for some reason.
I got a routine. I don't stab myself in the arms. A fine phlebotomist does.
I think that's what it is, yeah.
Phlebotomist.
I can't get the image out of my head. Stop.
So, before we started recording, we were talking about we're on Podcoin now. So what Podcoin is? Well, we've always been on Podcoin, I should say, but now because I claimed the podcast, we have like our own little promo code. In Podcoin, for those of you that do not know what it is essentially it's a podcast application, an app that you download, and it pays you to listen. So every like 10 minutes you listen, you get one Podcoin. And then you cash those coins, and it's not like physical money, but you can, you rack up the points, and then you can go get stuff. You can get Amazon gift cards, you can get Starbucks gift cards and shit like that, or you could be really cool and you can donate that to charity, as in like every, every Podcoin equals like, a certain amount of grains of rice to help feed homeless people. And there's a bunch of charities that you can choose from, which is pretty cool. So, and you're just listening to your podcast that you listen to anyways,
I mean, yeah.
So might as well not. Why not gain from it?
Right.
You're already listening to it, and I think every now and then they'll insert ads into it, but from my experience with it, they don't. They haven't. And right now, Dudes with Brews on a porch, we're on the bonus list, Rob. So if you listen to us, you actually get a 1.5 points for every 10 minutes that you listen to our show.
So what is it? So that's an hour, so 1.5 times 10.
Yeah, so you get 6
times 6. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm I'm going to take this opportunity to make a correction from like a month ago. That's been bothering me ever since.
What was that?
When we debuted the Hop Passport.
Yeah.
And then we were like, use promo code Dudes with Brews.
Yeah.
Save $5.
Right. Which you can still do.
Yes.
At checkout.
And I said, you saved 25%. $5 out of $25 is 20%, not 25%.
Oh.
And it's seriously, that's plagued me for many weeks. Like, because I was like, if I correct it, I sound like an idiot. But if I don't correct it, I sound like an idiot. So now I'm bad at math, and I don't know that there's 60 minutes in an hour, not 100 minutes in an hour.
Well, if you sign up for Podcoin, if you don't have an account right now and you sign up right now and you use the promo code, it's not really a promo code. It's just like it's a code. Just use our code. It's called Dude Brews. Dude Brews.
DUDE?
BREWS. Dude Brews. Or you can do it like our friends at Things Joe Hates and listen to and use the code Joe Hates, and you get 300 Podcoins just from doing that, just from using it, signing it up. So you get 300 right away off the bat.
Yeah.
And I don't get anything out of this. So you can use Joe Things Joe Hates promo code Joe Hates, superior podcast than ours.
The Phantom podcast if you've been a long time listener of the show, before I was a co-host, I always talked about a podcast that I was releasing, that I was creating. Wow, this is making me burp too.
Yeah. See, look at this. We're burp clubs, burp brothers.
This is gonna be a hell of a room to breathe in later. I don't know, so I was gonna call that show at one point Pod Save America.
There's one called Pod Save the Queen, isn't there?
I'm
pretty sure there's a podcast that's called that, yeah.
I know there's like Pod Across America or something. But I got a better name for it eventually. But either way, this is literally pod saving the world, I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
Trying to,
It's pretty cool. Podcoin is a pretty cool thing. So like I said, yeah, use the promo code Dude Brews or Joe Hates. You get 300 points right away. And then listen to my podcast and Joe's podcast for bonus. We're both on the bonus things right now. So get on it. Listen to us, damn it. That's what we gain from it. We gain your dedication, your love, your support, and things like that. So
it's the only thing that keeps us going.
Yep, that's right.
And these fish.
Yeah, I gotta clean that fish tank.
Yes, you do.
It's getting rough. Whatever. And I was told I need to buy some snails, and that'll help. But you said,
yeah, that's how they get you.
I guess. But before we were talking, you said, if a person first started listening and hasn't been listening since, like,
throw me under the bus on this.
No, I'm not throwing you under the bus either. This is a segue.
All right,
it's a segue, Rob.
I don't see a segue.
We'll get one. You said if a person started listening from when you started to co-host,
yes,
they most likely think I'm a depressed dude because I always talk about what a rough week it was. Which, you know what, Rob? It hasn't been an easy week this week either.
Oh, as far
as work stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I get a text message maybe 4 out of 5 days a week. Maybe I'll give you 3.
Did I text you last night?
No, I think I texted you last night.
Did you?
And so 3 days a week, I get a text from Drew. I can't go on, Rob.
I don't think you've ever said that.
No, but it's something along the lines of, every time I come in here, I remember why I don't want to come in here or something within the first 5 minutes, because people are, you're a supervisor. You got to deal with people, all the underlings going, he took an extra 2 minutes on his break.
I've never had to deal with that, thankfully. But, yeah.
I'm just using it as it's a simile. It's a metaphor. It's a correlation. It's a something.
Yeah, I understand.
We've already established I don't know many things, so words are not going to be my strong point. You know what I mean.
I got you very well. So you wanted to, and it was weird because today even, when I was like, I remember it very, very vividly. I was walking to my office. I'm just thinking, I was dealing with some stuff. And I was just like, man, I'm really tired of all this negativity. And the only way that I can be positive, that I can like feel positive and more happy probably, is if I force that upon myself. Like I need to realize, look at the positive things in life instead of the negative, because I'm surrounded by negativity all the time.
Yep.
And it's not a good place to be. It's not a good thing to do. So what I need to do is I need to be more positive for myself. And then you brought up this today, which is I think it's just crazy. You're just like, we're going to do a new segment, and it's called Cheers.
Yes.
Where of course, we got our beers, and what do you do with beers? You cheers some motherfuckers. And with you saying that, it prompted me to. I found something this week, and in fact, I think it was today even. Something's going on in the world. They say things don't happen for a reason, but. They might. Probably not, though.
Well, I just think, what's funny, too, and just before you get into this, I'm going to say, remember I teased you with the idea. I said, I have an idea for a segment, and I think it's going to help us. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to... Oh,
yeah, you did.
I said, I think it's going to engage, like, our listeners. Because, right. But I didn't want to tell you what it was, but all night I was like, he's going to text me an idea about doing a Cheers segment. And I was like, I was really worried that you were gonna be like, because you said I have an idea too or something I want to talk about, and I was like, he's got this, he's gonna beat me to the punch, and I don't know why that matters. It doesn't, but it's like you never want. I always feel like when I'm in that situation where I go, oh man, I was just thinking that same thing. Like I feel like the other person is going, yeah, right. Don't blow smoke up my ass.
Yeah. I want to cheers one of my personal idols and heroes. He's pretty well known, and it might be corny, it might be lame, but you know what? When I read this, it made me embark on that young spirit, that the dreamer within me, and just the idea of doing something that you love doing, regardless of what other people think. And keep it and making that yours, like making it yours. It doesn't matter, like if other people don't like it, you did it, but odds are someone else out there is enjoying your work and cares about it as much as you do. And I like to think some people think about the podcast. I hope. I think I've gotten. It's been a little bit since I've gotten an email from our friend John in Finland.
I hope he's okay.
I hope he's okay too.
I hope we didn't turn him off.
I don't know. I hope not. But maybe he'll email us. But so he made a post here, and it's because he's making the movie Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
Okay.
Which is going to be a good movie. It's going to be good for all. And the post says, "Injustice for all." So Justice was a character from Jay and Silent Bob. It didn't feel like a true sequel until Shannon Elizabeth stepped on the set of Jay and Silent Bob reboot. It's almost like she stepped out of a box that was sealed when we wrapped Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, because Shannon hasn't aged at all.
She hasn't. It's insane.
She hasn't. Time marches on, and it's marched all over my face and Jay's face, but not Shannon's. The love of Jay's life returns to kick our primary plot into gear, and Shannon returned to us from Africa, where she's been living lately, working to save elephants and rhinos with her Shannon Elizabeth Foundation. So Jason Mewes and I were especially appreciative. Shannon not only came back, but also came far, leaving behind the noble work for a minute to do some silly shit with old friends. One of the hidden highlights of the shoot for me thus far was she was his first was overhearing Jason Mewes remind Shannon Elizabeth that she was his first on-screen kiss. 18 years after we got together and struck back, we're reuniting to reboot. Which, if you know anything about Kevin Smith, you know Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and a lot of his movies aren't highly regarded by critics whatsoever. And at one point in time, Kevin Smith was going to stop making movies. He was going to do like the Quentin Tarantino thing and say, these are my 10 movies. That's it. This is what you got. This is what I made. But then he realized, he just got to the point where he just didn't give a fuck anymore what people say on Rotten Tomatoes, what people said on the internet and stuff like that. He's like, there are people that like my things, and there are people that support me.
I feel like Kevin Smith is is
my spirit animal.
Well, to you, Kevin Smith is what Dan Harmon is to me.
Could be,
because they both epitomize this idea of exactly what I said before when I said, hey, the difference between successful people and non-successful people is that successful people just go and do it.
Right.
Like that beer cologne. Somebody like Puff Daddy, he would do that. I just listened to the thing on.
We gotta get a hold of Puff Daddy.
But he would take all the money. That's the thing. Like you got to But
he's a bad boy.
It's like when you see a Kevin Smith movie from when he first started, they're not like they're just good movies.
Clerks is good. Well, that was his first movie.
Yeah, and it's awesome. And it's done in a way that it probably didn't cost a ton of money. And same thing with like Dan Harmon, where he started Channel 101 because his pilot or something didn't get picked up, and he wanted to put the work out there, and it started this whole thing that created a safe space for creative people to create what they thought was funny and screen it with other people and kind of just like build up momentum that led to a lot of very prominent careers. And it's, and they both went through this time period where they were going to quit writing because of what they were reading and critical acclaim and all this. And then, through whatever means they needed, they realized, okay, I just have to be me. And this is what I love to do. And I'm glad that both of them did that, but because they both create stuff that's great to watch and funny and enjoy. And we need to look at that. Enjoy it. Right?
Brody Stevens. R.I.P.
R.I.P. Brody Stevens.
So we say cheers.
Yeah, way to really
to Dan Harmon.
Bring down the cheers.
We say cheers of the week to Kevin Smith, and cheers to Brody Stevens.
I'm going to say cheers to following
your dreams,
your dreams, and not letting other people tell you that you're
stupid,
that you can't do it. And are we actually gonna?
We can. You want to? Oh, that was solid. That high on the little meter there.
Good. I mean, because
that sip was special.
I don't know if Kevin Smith led you to actually create anything, but like Dan Harmon actually pushed the idea of when I read into what Dan Harmon's story wheel and what he did with Channel 101, the fact that he came from Milwaukee, that was the stuff that made me go you know what? I'm at least going to start writing down my ideas.
Yeah, Kevin Smith has I don't know what I think he still does 5 podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got Fat Man on Batman. He's got Smodcast, Jay and Silent Bob, Get Old, Edumacation. I think he still does, and some other ones. I don't know.
Do you listen to The Gist?
No.
Do you not like it?
I don't know what it is.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Kevin Smith in a sense is inspired me to get back into podcasting. Like you said, it's funny. I saw a stat. I think Joe, I'm talking about Joe a lot, but I think he mentioned something along the lines of the average podcast, the person that does the podcast only lasts eight episodes.
Yeah. Yep.
And the first podcast I ever did lasted 8 episodes, and I did a sports podcast very briefly. It was also only 8 episodes.
Well, I'd say
we're breaking the mold.
I think I only...
This is 85 or something.
No, this is a long-standing...
86.
You want to let me... What are we...
You were saying something?
What?
You were saying something?
No, you're coming up on 100 episodes. That's impressive in and of itself. But just to to sit down and, because that's the thing, even the Phantom podcast that I haven't released, I think I have like 6 to 8 episodes recorded.
Yeah.
Not released, but recorded.
Right.
It's like, and that's still in the back of my head. I still have all the note cards and all the ideas, and I do want to do it. But at the same time, once I started doing this one with you, it was sorry. No, this is what people like. The podcast that I have it's a serious.
It's deep.
Yeah, and who wants to listen to some guy in fucking Wisconsin talk about shit like that?
Hey, you never know. Who wants to listen to 2 guys in Wisconsin drinking beer and getting them?
Yeah, but they get information about beer. They make
not
it
a
laughs.
lot. Not a lot.
Well, you know, if they don't want to read the label, they can listen to an hour podcast.
They can find what we're drinking.
But you know, there's definitely. Regardless of what your sense of humor is, if you've listened to 10 episodes of the show and you haven't laughed, you're a liar.
And you're a piece of shit.
I'm not going to go that far.
Because we're funny.
Yeah, right? We're funny guys.
You're funny.
But no, seriously, you know, like there's been times where I've been like geeking laughing and from some of the stuff, and granted, I know I'm on the podcast, and that makes me a bad person, and whatever. But you know, it's like there's that's something that people get out of it, laughter, if they like our sense of humor. Mm-hmm. Whereas to listen to some non-expert guy talk about deep, like, hey, let's get to the bottom of these words that we take for granted or whatever, and I'm going to listen to you talk to somebody for an hour about wanting things or love or life or hate or whatever.
Or
Poop works.
I'm going to switch the topic a little bit, but I recorded...
Trying to get a little bit of momentum for my podcast.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry.
That I'm never going to release. No, change the podcast. Don't change the podcast. Change the topic.
I recorded another Mads and Dads episode earlier this week. Yeah.
Nice.
She wanted to do it, so I was like, yeah, we'll go ahead and do it, you know.
That's with your daughter?
Mm-hmm.
See, that's really cool. I
think we ended up talking about a lot of the same things that we talked about the first time. Maybe. I don't really remember what we talked about, but what got me was it was after we recorded it. She said some of the funniest shit. Because she's so innocent, she's 10 years old. She's so innocent. She didn't realize what she was saying.
Yeah.
And I couldn't help but just laugh because I didn't know what else to do. But
that's why I like my microphone from mine, because you could have just had it running.
You're right. Well, I was in the car, which we could have used too in the car. Yeah. I'll release that one eventually as like a little bonus episode. We drank a Wisconsin-based soda company.
Nice.
Yeah. And so we're talking about, we were in the car. We were talking about the neighbors upstairs. And over the weekend, they're pretty loud. They were just talking, but talking loudly, which, you know, we're in a sense, I guess we could be talking loudly right now. I don't really know the volume of my voice, if it's loud or not. But anyways.
It's not about how loud it is. Does it travel through? Yeah.
And you could say this individual's voice traveled.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, you know, I could hear him all the time. And I was like, yeah, he just talks loud. Like that's just the way he talks. And she goes, you know, she brings up, oh yeah, you know, sometimes I hear him fighting. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, sometimes I hear them not fighting, but they're not talking. It's weird. And I'm like,
you think she knows, but she didn't want to say?
She probably does. She probably has an idea. And I'm just...
Did she say something like, I never hear you and mommy? Like,
no, she didn't say that. But she's like, it's really weird. And she's just like, I don't like it.
That's not good though, man. Like, in terms of like, if we draw our, like those things, they travel with us.
I just started laughing though because it's funny. I just wasn't expecting her to say that. She's just like,
and I don't like it.
She's like, it's not fighting, but you know, it's different. Or she said something. It's not good. That's what she said. She's like, it's not good. And I just couldn't stop laughing my ass off because over the weekend I heard it too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh God. It was right. I was trying to sleep, and I just heard it, and I'm like, oh goodness.
Goodness. Oh goodness. Golly gee.
And I was just like, I should have just put a timer on it just out of curiosity. But I was like,
see how you stack up.
Yeah, I already know I'm not that good. But anyways,
you must be doing something right because you got 2 kids and a wife.
Built for speed.
Hey, that's what's that called when you purpose?
Yeah. But yeah, so it was just that would, and I think that's really like one of the first times I've ever experienced that, where I've, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just like, what do I do here?
Yeah. Do you?
How do I just try to keep sleeping? Do I leave the room?
That's them putting the shame on you. Where now you have to go. Should I be ashamed for listening? Should I be ashamed for?
I was listening. I heard it.
Well, that's what what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, but that's the thing. Once you hear it and you understand what it is,
I know some of these sounds.
Yeah, right. It's from some long ago. I feel like
A couple movies I've watched.
We're
talking about fornicating people.
Yeah. Is that not clear?
Yeah. Well, you know.
Oh. Clearly, somebody out there was going. Was there a murder upstairs? Somebody murdered somebody up there.
There was
No. Once you hear it, that's where the shame comes in. Like, what do I do now? Like, because now you can't unhear it. You can't make yourself
echoes in your head.
Yeah. You can't make yourself go like, okay, now stop realizing that sound is there.
Right. Right.
It's like,
do I turn the TV on and just turn it up, or?
But if you're, me personally, I can't sleep with the TV on.
I can fall asleep to a TV on, but I'll always wake up and I'll have to turn it off. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes, it makes sense.
Okay.
But
you're looking at me like you're like, wow.
Well, it's just odd.
I'm very disappointed that your ringtone isn't Taylor Swift anymore.
I got a new phone. I know.
You gotta re-get it. You need a couple bucks.
I miss it.
I'll pay for it.
I think I think I can put that. I think I can put that thing back in and get it. Yeah. Now I can't remember the word. It was say yes.
Noises. Oh, that song. Yeah, but it was just it was weird, and it was funny that she said that, and I just thought it was. I didn't really. I didn't really respond other than with laughter.
It's always interesting when you hear those noises and then like your neighbor comes walking out and you go, oh yeah, hey.
I try to avoid them at all costs.
You're like, how's the old lady? And he goes, she's at work, she's good.
Oh,
well, you alone in there? I was.
That'd be something.
I'm gonna skip the handshake.
Yeah, but no, I try to avoid them at all costs. 100%. If I see them walking inside and I'm in my car and I could have easily like gotten out and gone in at the same time, I wait.
That's one way to do it.
I avoid making eye contact with them.
Well, that's
pretend like the house is haunted.
It's just New York mentality.
Yeah, yes. I've always kind of had that mentality ever since like I moved from the street that the house that I kind of grew up in for like I guess half my life, or no, well, I'm past half of that. But when I was younger, my adolescence, I don't like to associate with my neighbors. I don't like to talk to them. I had when I lived in the apartment before where I live now, there was a younger couple that was next door. I don't remember their names, but they had 2 little kids, and this was before, my wife was pregnant, and then the girl over there was pregnant at the same time.
Yep.
They were pretty much due pretty close to each other. I think she had her baby before Ashton was born, but I'm pretty sure they tried to get like buddy with me.
Yeah.
And I didn't want anything to do with it. Nothing.
Why?
I don't know.
Well,
My friend quota is met.
See, well, and that's...
Do you really want to let more people in, Rob?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm friends with my neighbors.
Yeah?
I made friends with my neighbors, and they're all old women, and...
yeah, they make you soup?
No.
No.
But at 21 East 9th Street, I did have a neighbor that made me soup.
It's a very specific address.
That's because it's just known as 21 East 9th.
Somebody lives there now.
Well, somebody lives at 21 East 9th in Madison and in Shamakawa, Montana.
Shamakawa?
Yeah.
Is that a real place?
No, I don't think so.
That's where slash tag should take place in Shamakawa, Shamakawa, Montana.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh, Shamakawa.
Shamakawa.
They have like a real...
It's an old ancient Indian Native American.
Yeah,
sorry.
no, I was gonna say that.
Yeah, I catch myself.
Hashtag woke.
Yes. Hashtag bad person. Hashtag me. Hashtag I don't know how hashtags work.
You use them correctly.
Hashtag sweet.
But yeah, I don't know. I just
no, that is
no interest.
But that's what I was like. So, oh shit! Now I lost it.
Maybe it's because for the longest time, I've wanted a house, my own house. Maybe so. I was like, I don't want to make
you resent your neighbors for living in the building that you live in. Like, how dare you? How dare you pay rent to live above me? Because if you didn't live there, this would be my place.
No. I just do it so then I don't make
the voices in your head say murder them. Murder them and be a homeowner.
It's never been murder, but it's maybe it's because I don't want to build relationships because then I'll want to stay there.
That's interesting.
Because it's like, oh yeah, I'm good friends with my neighbors. We go watch the Packer game. We drink beer sometimes.
You did say earlier in this
now if I'm moving away,
that you have a routine. Keep a routine.
I have a routine and stuff. So if I incorporate that into my routine, then it actually feels like a home and not just a place of living. And I don't want this to be my home. I want a house, God damn it.
We're getting off track.
No, I don't think so. I'm just saying that's why I don't talk to my neighbors. That's why I don't establish relationships with it.
In terms of our cheers, maybe.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Cheers and jeers. We got cheers as neighbors.
We got the positive vibes out already.
Okay.
Can we wash it down with some neutral level stuff?
Yeah, let's do that. Do you think that's do your kids feel like this is a home?
I would imagine.
I mean, you don't want them to look at this as not a home.
Right. I don't know. I do a casual head nod and wave to the guy next door.
That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
If he's got his hood up, you say, "Hey, you need a jump."
He's the reason my basement's flooded.
Well, then you flip him off.
He blew his snow over to our side, and then all that snow, it's been raining, so it's been melting, and now came through the window.
Yeah.
It went whoosh. Then I text my landlord, sent her a picture. There's a puddle of water on the floor. I'll clean it. And she said, "Thank you."
Do you get money off the rent?
A plumber is on the way. No, I don't. I just do it to be a good Samaritan. I live here. You know what I mean? Like,
no, that is the way it should be. For some, like if there's cost associated with it, like that they would normally have to pay or whatever. That's one thing, but
I just took my my shampooer, my carpet shampooer, and I sucked up all the water.
Can I borrow that?
Yeah.
Let's get this all on record. This is casual conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
I need to shampoo my carpet.
It's one of the most satisfying feelings ever.
Yeah.
Is the way it looks after it, and I have to do it again. I've done it numerous times, but then it seems like
I noticed that. Have you done it recently? Because it looks like
I vacuumed.
Okay, I can see the vacuum lines.
Yeah, I vacuumed today.
You know what I wish would come back that was big in the 50s? Carpet rakes.
Oh.
Have you ever had a carpet rake?
No.
Have you ever seen one?
No.
Carpet rakes are amazing, first off. Second off, they were big in the 50s where you would vacuum and then you would rake the carpet to get the lines. You know how you can see the lines? It's like a little carpet rake, and they're pretty cool. and pretty cool is that's the only word I can really use. If you have a carpet rake, you are a suave motherfucker. And my grandma had one. She was cool. And I wish that would come back. Why don't we rake our carpets anymore, people?
One of the most satisfying things is just a freshly cleaned carpet.
That's true.
It's refreshing.
Yeah, clean sheets and a shower.
Yeah, I got to take a shower today. I'm stanky.
I showered today.
Oh, man. Go on Twitter and children reported dead following a school shooting, of course, in greater Sao Paulo. Great. Fucking great.
This is a thing. This is a part of the reason why I wanted to implement a Cheers segment, because it's not just us.
There's a lot of negativity in the world.
Is America especially, but the world in general is.
Well, here we go. Cardinal Pell sentenced to 6 years in prison for sex abuse.
I heard about that.
Well, that's not good either. Stephen Hawking's former nurse has been struck off the nursing register because for malpractice. Oh, that's.
Can I say this? Okay, so this is an interesting thing to me. This idea of justice, that when somebody goes to jail, justice is served and people can get closure and stuff for murder. And it's like somebody murders somebody and then they send somebody to jail and they're like, now I have closure or whatever. It's like the person's dead still. Like, you just are ruining. Like, I'm not saying don't send somebody to prison or whatever, but it's really weird, like the dynamic of, when somebody gets exonerated, who's been put in jail and then is exonerated by DNA evidence.
He still lost all those years.
The family is like, they get mad about it or they get sad. Like, have you ever seen that? Like, where somebody gets let out of jail, like, because some evidence, put doubt in the case or whatever, or there was a retrial and then they won, and then the people that, like, the family members of the person that died, they're like, they're like bawling and they're really whatever. They're mad that person got out of jail, and it's like, yeah, but why is it justice if the wrong person goes to jail?
Yeah.
I would feel so, like, I would be, if I had somebody around me murdered, like a family member murdered, and they tried to, there was they tried to do some flimsy case or whatever.
Yeah.
I would feel like I would have to, it would have to be 100% that person's guilty, or I'd feel a lot of shame and guilt and whatever. But I was just watching a couple documentaries or listening to a podcast called Dirty John. Nope, I'm sorry. I was watching a documentary, and it was about somebody who got murdered, and the mom of the person that got murdered, it was a husband murdered her daughter. So her daughter's husband murdered her daughter, and then she was like, I still love him, and she actually testified for him for the defense at the trial, and everybody was like, how can you do that? How can you forgive him? And she's like, he's been in my life for 30 years, and this was a momentary lapse in sanity for him.
Here's a question for you. So, obviously, crimes are bad. Like, murdering somebody is bad.
Why is that obvious? What if somebody murdered Hitler? Murdered Jack the Ripper before he killed. Murdered the Boston Strangler before he killed somebody.
It's obvious.
You got nothing for me, do you?
I don't have anything for you. I guess in those cases, okay, yeah, those are good. You just gotta make sure you got the right person. But murdering somebody, well, in the grand scheme of things, isn't always good. Usually is not. It's still sad. Like, if even
it must be a little good, considering murderers are always like, once I do it once, I got to do it again.
Oh,
sorry, a bad, in poor taste murder joke.
I'm trying to make a point,
and I'm derailing it.
So people, but if it wasn't for murders, for these weird cases of abducted in plain sight, if it wasn't for these controversial sexual abuse stories and stuff like that, you wouldn't have a good percentage of television and documentaries that people seem to love. So really, we thrive off of it.
No, yeah, that's crazy that you said that. I was just watching, I've been there's a couple series that I'm listening to right now. One's called Monster. It's a podcast about the Atlanta murder, and then
energy drinks okay too.
And then the Zodiac Killer.
Did you like, side tangent, did you like that movie? I thought it sucked.
I didn't watch it all.
It's just,
but
nothing really happens.
I've heard people that really defend that movie, and I would like to go back and watch it, but there's a lot of, I don't know yet. I can't say so much. I like Jake Gyllenhaal. So,
I do too.
So I kind of
Robert Downey Jr.'s in it. It's like
the cast is good.
The movie's about like the hunt, the journalism, the writing of it.
But that was actually what was happening, is that the reporters were actually doing a lot of the investigating.
Just thought it was kind of dull.
Yeah, it could have been done differently. But either way, so I've been listening to that a couple podcasts about that kind of stuff, and then a couple documentaries about some things that, and they always do this, go down this road of the fascination. And with the Zodiac, especially, because it was they
never caught him.
Well, this is before,
it's Ted Cruz.
back then. The thing that they had to deal with was the fact that, do we publish the things that he is sending us because that's what he wants? Because he wants this critical acclaim because people are flocked to the fringes of society, like superstars, murderers. People that do these things that are outside norms that we all not necessarily want to do, but it fascinates us that somebody can do something that's not considered normal.
Right.
And so there's a science.
And a lot of these people believe in it. There's people, Charles Manson, for example, believed in what he was doing.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about the general, even Hitler believed in what he was doing to make a better, and he's not a serial killer, but he's a mass murderer on a huge scale.
Right.
And I'm just saying, he believed he was bettering mankind. Charles Manson believed that he was starting the world, doing something biblical. But then you have other sadistic killers, like the Zodiac Killer, that literally came right out and said, "I like to kill people because it makes me feel good." And
Jeffrey Dahmer, you ever watch that interview that he did? He was he explained to a reporter, he's just it was it was this compulsion that he wanted to control these people, and the ultimate control eventually is eating them.
Yeah.
Killing them, eating them, because they're a part of him. He made that. It was really weird. And it's so weird because in that interview, Jeffrey Dahmer's just he is 100% aware of what I did is wrong and demented. I clearly need help, but he just showed no remorse. And it's so...
Sounds like you're telling me that you murder and eat people and you're friends with Jeffrey Dahmer.
Well, Jeffrey Dahmer's dead.
I say it's just because you're Jeffrey Dahmer, he says that I know that what I did was wrong.
That's what he said.
I know, but when you say it...
Oh...
I don't know. It just sounded funny to me because you didn't say he knew what he did.
Well, there's a reason. There's a reason I vacuumed. How do you know I didn't scrub the carpets beforehand? That's not juice on the floor.
I'm not gonna ask questions because that.
Remember those chicken fingers you had a couple weeks ago?
They were delicious.
Not chicken.
Oh God. But in terms of, there are some killers that kill for
fame, glory,
but others that kill for just the compulsion of they literally have it deep down inside them, this thing that for whatever reason, it's like an addiction, which is so crazy. Whenever I hear these psychological workups of killers that are like what you just said, Jeffrey Dahmer, he needed this control, and they actually brought up Dahmer in the Zodiac podcast, where they were saying, when you have killers like Dahmer, who he escalated his his activity from this to this, and he had such bad self. And I might be thinking of Ed Gein. Who was the one that had sex with the corpses and ate them? Dahmer?
Ed Gein.
Oh, that was Gein.
Well, Ed Gein like grave robbed people. I think he only murdered one person.
Then it must have been Dahmer. Okay.
Dahmer took people to like strangled them.
But it was so they were just saying, whichever one it was, they were saying that like they had such
one of those famous Wisconsin murderers.
Yeah, right. There's so many. It's hard to keep all straight. But they were saying that like they had such bad self-esteem that first they didn't think that they were worthy of, the love of an actual human. So then that's when they like started fucking around with dead animals and that's yada yada yada.
It's like Dexter.
And it escalated, and they say all killers escalate, which makes sense. Like anything that you do over time, whether it's good or bad, whether it's as bad as murder or not, it starts with you doing a little, like, even if you say shoplift, you start with a candy bar. Like nobody goes out and robs a bank their first shot unless they're desperate.
Yeah.
But it's... the psychology of it is what interests the public because it's so far outside the norm, but at the same time, it creates people that are willing to do it for the fame alone.
Yeah,
and that's so like when you talk about the Zodiac, who like he sent these letters to the reporters and
called them.
Yeah, and then it was like, do we put these in the paper and give him what he wants? Now I don't remember what we were talking about when you asked about the movie, which led down this whole tangent. So I don't know where we're at or how to get back to what I was actually talking about. So I
think we were just talking about, like, I just said we thrive off of people murdering people, even though it's wrong. Like, even though it's you've touched on.
Yeah, and so they just brought that up in that podcast that, and in really a lot of these documentaries where it's like, you said we wouldn't have all this great TV and documentaries.
Yeah, we wouldn't.
But we would have something... We might have documentaries that focus on humanitarians that like why is there not a documentary about Shannon Elizabeth or Shannon
Elizabeth?
Is it Shannon Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Why was I thinking Molly Shannon?
Oh.
I was totally thinking Molly Shannon when we had that whole conversation. Yeah, that's who I was thinking. I was like, I didn't know that she was in that movie. So anyway,
Shannon Elizabeth. That's I think she's most famously known for her
American
role in
Pie.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
So anyway, so why is there not a documentary about Shannon Elizabeth going and helping elephants in Africa? Because there's too many being made about serial killers. I mean, there's like 20 Jack the Ripper documentaries that all say the same thing essentially.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying, like...
How come we talked about making a horror movie instead of a nice African escapade where people save rhinos?
Right.
Not as entertaining.
Exactly. Because nobody gives a fuck about rhinos. They care about why somebody kills somebody.
Mystery. Yeah. Sweet revenge in the case of Mr. Jalopy.
Man. I mean, you could probably merge the two. We should try and do that. A murderer that murders to better and that's what Dexter was. That's exactly what Dexter was. A vigilante. It's Batman. It's justice. But that's the idea.
Dexter did kill at least one innocent person.
True.
I think it's season 5.
I haven't seen season 5.
So you've never seen the ending of Dexter?
No. I've only seen through Trinity Killer.
Ooh. I would suggest not to. Leave it at that.
Don't watch it?
One of the most crazy endings to a season for a TV show.
I never finished. I think I know somebody told me what the ending of Dexter was.
Stupid.
And that's what I heard. Lost was one that I never finished either.
Of course. Season 5, if I remember correctly, of Dexter isn't bad.
We should not go down this road. I feel like I did that. Like we should cut out everything I said about podcasts and documentaries because we're just talking about things we've watched. Nobody wants to hear that. The things that I've watched. Hey, I watch these documentaries and listen to these podcasts.
You might lead somebody to something new.
True. Okay.
I think you bring up valid points. It's weird that people obsess about murder.
It is weird.
And crimes and true crimes. True crime is a thriving genre.
That's what I was going to say. I'm sorry to cut you off.
That's fine.
I'm really sorry. But before I forget again.
Are you?
I am.
Okay.
Because I really do. I'm sorry. Drew.
No, you're fine.
I'm sorry. I'm touching Drew right now.
Crack my neck.
But when you said whatever you said about the true crime genre, I was going to say it's a multi-million-dollar industry.
Yeah.
True crime is probably getting close to, hundreds of millions, if not $1 billion industry.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. And if people didn't do these things, it wouldn't exist. People are profiting off somebody getting murdered.
Yeah.
We have straight through episodes about people, about a kid that used to live down the street from you. That got killed.
Yep.
That's one of our most listened to episodes.
And there's no shortage of stories.
Let's pause for 1 second. Someone just got murdered.
Yep.
Someone just got murdered, Rob.
Life snuffed out.
They did.
And another life that could potentially be on the cover of a new
documentary.
Whatever. Yeah, it's
right now. I can almost guarantee you, Rob. Right now, the next topic of a true crime, whether it's series, episode of a TV show, movie, is happening at this moment. At this moment.
I heard a stat that at any given time...
Maybe it's about to happen right now, Rob. Recorded.
I have to go. I heard a stat that there's at any given time, there's 20 serial killers in America.
Wild.
And 10 of them are behind bars and 10 of them are on the loose. At any, on average or whatever.
Huh.
Now that seems like... With the other, this is one of the most interesting things to me about this idea of especially statistically putting serial killers like that is that's only on murders that are considered murders, because all the missing person cases that are just missing persons and there's no body. Mm-hmm. Those could all be. I mean, there could be 50 serial killers that just know what they're doing enough to
look at the Trinity killer.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And that's the thing about
John Lithgow really killed it in that.
Lithgow. Yep.
More ways than one. Pun intended. Is that a spoiler? No. You find that out pretty quick, right?
I don't even know what
that's John Lithgow?
Yeah, I think you find out right away.
Okay.
But yeah, it's there's all these missing people. There could be 50 serial killers that are just super good at what they do, and they know
real efficient serial killers.
Yeah, it's and we give. I mean, there's a show called How to Get Away with Murder.
That's like a drama, though, isn't it? That's not like a documentary.
Yeah, but it's a drama based on somebody who teaches criminology, but it's you put all the that's all they do research and all that. You watch all these documentaries, you watch all these shows, all these
here's what not to do.
All these procedurals, yeah, and you can go okay, if you can get rid of no blood, no body, no crime. It's just how it goes. And I was listening to, as I was listening to that Zodiac thing last night, I was literally thinking of and I know that I shouldn't be thinking of this, and I definitely shouldn't be broadcasting that I thought this way, but if you killed somebody, right?
Yeah.
And you took a pair of gloves, and you cut the fingertips out, and then you very meticulously put their fingertips in the fingertips of the gloves, so that you could go do murders, and then their fingertips there, so a missing person would show up as
oh, I know what you're saying. It's weird.
How long do you think those fingertips would give off fingerprints?
Don't know.
Do you have to moisten them?
I've
got to spritz them.
I wonder how many people have had that
thought. Do I got something?
No, I'm just itching my nose. It just, yeah.
How many people do you think? Maybe somebody out there did do that somehow. And
this
that's
isn't a confession, is it?
I can't. Can I borrow the shampooer?
Yeah, you can.
No, I would never be able to murder somebody.
I got soap for it too.
Because I just couldn't.
I'm a very non-violent guy.
Yeah, it's.
I don't like violence.
I can't even bring myself to hit somebody.
Yeah.
With my car, going 65.
I've hit someone with my car.
Really?
One time, in a zoo parking lot. It was one of the scariest moments of my life, Rob.
I'm deadly afraid of. I have like 3 major fears. One is needles and veins and stuff.
Yeah.
The second one is hitting a pedestrian.
I hit a pedestrian with a car, going about 2 or 3 miles an hour.
Okay, well you really.
I knocked the person down.
Yeah.
It was a child.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
How old?
7.
Jesus.
8. I was the child was on a field trip with school. I was very slowly going through the parking lot, and the kid booked it from the bus, and I hit him.
Holy scary!
And he fell to the ground, and I put it in park, and I was like, "What the?" Yeah, I was very scared. I got out of the car right away, and the kid was up walking, and he was like going towards his class, and I was like, "Hey, bud, hold on, we gotta find who you're with." I was like, and then I go up. Oh, I go up to.
I just hit this kid with my car.
Yeah, that's what I had to say. I go up to one of the chaperones, I'm guessing. And he's like, "Oh, he's fine. He's fine." I'm like, I hit him with a car. Like, he fell to the ground because the bumper of this vehicle
collided,
went into him. And yes, no, whether he's fine or not, like, something's got to be done.
Yeah, you can't tell me he's fine.
Right. So
But I will say this.
It's terrifying.
Anybody who's listening right now, I hope that you are grasping the gravity of of Drew's character. That he is insisting at this point. I care more about this kid's well-being to make sure that he is okay.
Yeah.
In the long run, there's no injuries that are dormant or whatever.
Yeah.
I care about that more than I care about my future financially. More than I care. I commend you.
Yeah. Well, then the teacher finally shows up, and mind you, nobody was watching this kid exit the bus, so he must have had to go to the bus to get something or put something back or something. And when he ran off, whatever. And then the teacher comes out, and I was like, "Hey, I hit this kid with my car."
That's so. I want to put that in a script or something where somebody has to walk up to somebody and go, "So this kid, I hit this kid with my car." I don't know how to word it, but that's such a.
And then
the awkwardness of having to go up to an adult and go, "I hit this kid with my car."
Yeah, it was
so.
I don't
insane.
know. And then I give her my insurance information. I give her my phone number, and I was like, "Well, can I have the school's number so I can,
You wanted to check up on this kid.
Yeah, to get an update or whatever." And I was like, "Can somebody call me, so I know what's going on?" And one of the first things I said to the teacher, I was like, "Shouldn't we?" I was like, "Well, we should call the police." And she said, "No, we don't need to do that." And I was like, and mind you, the person behind me got out of his car, wrote his phone number down, and gave it to me, and said, "I saw the whole thing. You did nothing wrong." I was like, "Thanks, man." But eventually, whatever, it got cleared up, I guess. And later that day, I saw the kid running around at the zoo. So I was like,
kids are resilient, but if I understand this correctly, kid runs in front of you, you're going 2-3 miles an hour, you hit him, he falls down, you put him in a park.
Yeah.
He jumps up, as kids do.
Right. He wasn't crying.
And most people...
He didn't cry until I told him to stop.
And so most people are like, well, he's fine. Right. And you go, "No, I want to make sure medically and with machinery and all this, here's my insurance information, please." Yeah. I love you.
Oh, thanks.
I love you, too.
But, so anyways, And the thing was, I think it was either the next day or the day after. I was about to leave the state, which, what a coincidence.
Wow, that's
you know what I mean?
crazy.
So I, that night or that afternoon we got home or whatever, I called, I think it was like, it must have been right around when school gets out. I called the school and I said, hey, I was, involved in an accident with a student. I hit, and they're like, okay. Yeah. And I was like, is he okay? Like, what? Are you guys going to be calling my insurance? So I know, like, just kind of wait for that call.
School today.
And then they're like, oh, his mom's a nurse. She looked him over and he seems to be fine. They'll be
with her eyeballs.
Yeah, I guess they'll be taking him to a doctor. They said they'll be taking him to a doctor, and I said, okay. Well, I was like, well, would it be possible for me to call the mom just so I can get this lined up with? Because like, I don't know if I was like,
I want him taken to the doctor right now, just in case somebody else hits him with a car in the next day or so.
But I was just like, and I was just like, well, because I want to know if I should be calling my insurance company, telling them to expect this. And
are you supposed to do that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Or is that just an excuse to talk to the mom? Were you trying to get some MILF action?
No, not at all. I was just trying to, I just want to make sure this kid was okay.
You're a good person, and that's why I love you. Personal hero.
They wouldn't give me the phone number, which whatever. And then I was like, okay, well, is there something that you need from me? And they're like, yeah, we need you to fill out a statement. Like, okay.
We need you to stop harassing this kid.
They emailed me this thing, and I made sure to keep it on there on record. I was like, nobody was watching this kid. Nobody, for real. I was like, there wasn't a single adult present.
That's so funny.
There wasn't a single adult pregnant, or there wasn't a single adult present. And
I've got witnesses that no one was watching this fucking kid.
Yeah, I even said that. I was like, and so I went through what happened, and
even I wasn't watching the kid because I hit him
and
with my car.
Yeah, dude, he booked it.
No one cares about him, obviously, because they didn't even want to take him to the hospital after I said I hit this kid with my car.
Ruined the whole trip, but
he'll be fine.
But I sent that, and I never heard back from him ever.
Well, that's better than...
I normally say when people like talk about that and I go, yeah, I hit a kid once. They go, really? What happened? I'm like, he's dead. That's what I normally say. But it was legitimately terrifying.
That is, I've never hit anybody.
You don't want to.
But like, I've had that fear since I was 16 and got my license.
Yeah.
Where like when it rains and at night, you know how like there's
for sure.
I was always so afraid of that's like one of the I would say that's if I had to choose between hitting a pedestrian and getting a shot in the arm, I'd take the shot in the arm.
Yeah.
I think most people would.
I would hope so.
But no, like I have had nightmares about hitting the pedestrians. It's something that has
it's terrifying.
There's people that get in their cars and they do not realize that they are driving around a ton to 2 ton weapon.
Right.
You don't pay attention to what you're doing. And you know what's crazy is like so there's that, to tie it in with this serial killer type stuff, there's that person in Vegas that like decided to just drive their car on the sidewalk in a crowded sidewalk. Did you hear about that? It was like a year ago.
That was wasn't that during like a rally or something like that?
I'm not sure. I didn't remember it being necessarily about, maybe it was a political thing. I don't know.
Well, that did happen at a political thing where
it was the first guy that did it that made national news, and it was in Vegas.
Oh, okay.
And what was crazy about that is that I had that thought, like not the thought to do it, but like
anybody at any time could do this.
Yeah, for like, for a couple of years before that, whenever I would watch like crazy shit would happen, I would have this like, quick thought that was like,
yeah.
If you wanted to like, because I feel bad about this, like, but whenever I hear the numbers on like when there's like a mass shooting or even when the trade towers fell, like, or a war, like, and it's like, oh, this is the amount of deaths or casualties. It always seems like we're trained to believe that like, oh, you get shot, you die. But like when somebody unloads an automatic rifle in a concert and only 6 people die,
Yeah.
And 20 people get injured or whatever. And it's like, well, that's not that bad considering there were 500 people or 1,000 people or 2,000 people and they were shooting an automatic weapon into the crowd. Now, granted, I'm not saying that death is like, six deaths only is good or whatever, but it's just like I would always expect there to be like 100 deaths. If somebody unloads, like 2 clips or, so we're talking like 100 bullets into a crowd of 2,000 people, I would expect there to be like 50 deaths.
I don't know.
So like 6 sounds like it's like I'm surprised. And it's not good, but it's just surprising. Yeah. And so I would have this secondary thought that was like, why not just, if you drove your car into a crowd of people, if you're looking to do damage, like it's a weapon and it's a big weapon. And now I need to keep saying this, like I never thought about actually doing this. I never wanted anybody to do this. It's this thing.
Oh.
Because whenever I move a little bit, I'm like right on the spring. Drew was making a face that was like, what is that noise? And it was the couch that I'm sitting on. Anyway, so it's like, then somebody did it, and then it happened again and again, and I was like, I feel bad for having that thought before. That I was like, that somebody actually, like, for somehow me putting those vibes out into the world, like, somebody, like, but I'm not somebody that wants to hurt people, but if you were, like, and when you see, look at the farmer's market in Fond du Lac, right? Yeah. What would happen if you just like got up to 100 miles an hour and didn't stop at the barricade?
Right.
That would be horrible. Right. And I'm glad nobody does it. I'm glad it hasn't been done. I hope nobody ever does it. But it's like, yeah, a car is a fucking weapon, and it's scary to drive it. That's all I'm saying. I just said it in way too many words. I drank that whole beer. I'm a little tipsy.
Wow.
And you just like it's a door opened. It's just a door. Are you a dog? Are you a cat?
Maybe. There's a buzzing noise. Let me fix it. Give me the cord. We're gonna end this podcast.
I should start using your mic.
Why?
That one. Because I move around too much, and then it causes buzzing. And I'm sure that this cord, because I have this cord that's like...
just take my cord.
That's what I meant, is the cord.
I like this mic.
You can have the mic, the cord.
We gotta wrap this up.
Yeah.
We drank Alaska Brewing Company Husky IPA. I thought it was good.
I liked it.
You finished it?
Yeah.
I finished it.
It was a little sour, but that went away. Or a little bitter, but as you drank more and more of it, it went away.
It wasn't, it's an IPA. It's just a real standard IPA. It's, it's like the oldie but a goodie. Nothing gimmicky about it, but delicious nonetheless.
I will say
Plain Jane.
A beautiful looking beer, beautiful smelling beer.
Beautiful tasting.
I'm not an IPA guy, but I liked it.
Things got weird.
Yeah, this is a weird episode. Sorry, guys.
Hey, when you do
fuck
80,
that. I'm not sorry.
When you do 80 some of them, odds are you're bound to repeat some stuff. And you're bound to get to some weird topics.
Eventually, you're gonna borderline be okay with murder.
If you watch true crime murders, technically you are somewhat
contributing.
You are somewhat okay with people getting murdered.
Yeah.
Because you watch these shows. What I 100% agree that they're intriguing and very interesting to watch because of the dynamics of some of the cases. But you, in a sense, are a key factor to the murder.
Yep.
By keeping it alive.
Well, if you next time there's a serial killer or a murderer that says, "I did it for the fame," aren't you partially to blame?
I think so. Drink that IPA.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I did before I wanted to say, for the cheers segment, which I think we should. We're gonna try and do.
We'll do.
Tweet us your cheers.
At Dudes on a Porch. Tweet us what you want to cheer. We'll read them.
Yeah. We'll the first couple, the first few people that you know, on the time scale, we'll go by time. No. First few people that tweet us.
First 100 people.
Okay, I guess we're just going to read all of them.
Every single one.
All right.
Pew, pew, audio. Goodbye, everyone.